So we just worked on shooting to the front leg, high crotch, front leg, swing single. In reality, when you're wrestling a quality opponent, you're probably not going to be successful shooting to the front leg because that's the leg they want you to shoot on. High school, you probably get away with it, but we want to teach some high-level stuff, and so we're going to learn how to attack the back leg with the high crotch and the swing single. So the first thing I have to do is I have to get in his head. I got to make James think he's coming for this. He's leading this. I got to make him think I'm coming for the high crotch because that's going to cause a reaction of him sprawling back. And as he sprawls, as he takes his foot back, all of his weight is on that foot. The problem I have is my penetration step has to be tweaked just a little bit. So when we talked about a swing single, we want it to step right here. So when he sprawls his back, our knee can be right there. He's going to have all his weight on there, so I don't have to get all the way to there. If he's leading this leg and I come here, I got to get right about here so my knee can get to there. So I don't have to go as far in. So it's not, it might not be the most technically sound step, but I'm kind of hopping to that position to get into place to finish this move. It's the same move and all this stuff up here, but the issue I have is when I step here, my weight's kind of on this back foot, determining what's gonna happen here. So as I step, I'm turning, he's there, I'm gonna push off with this foot, land here, and do my swing single. Well, let's see if I can do a good job right now. So here, I step, and I get to that position. So I don't have to step all the way to the foot because my knee's gonna get there because all this weight's on this foot. So we'll do that a couple more times. And once again, I want to have this hand on the tricep here because this allows me to hang, pull, and swing. If I have nothing to swing on, I have not as much power. So this hand, fingers are wrapped around the tricep. You can go here if you want, pull, but I think this is probably the best. Okay, let's get back here. We'll try one more time. We're wrestling, pull on his head. We're strapping, I step, he sprawls, I go. Here, step. Boom, show up that knee, build on up. So one more thing with the swing single, I guess something I started doing when I was older. It's terrible technique, but if you're wrestling someone and they grab onto your head here, they feel like they're in control, they don't feel vulnerable at all. If I'm wrestling and I over tie to the ear right here, I actually have a handle, access point to swing on. So if we're wrestling here, I can reach there, he steps back, I do the same step, but the one thing you have to do different, I have to drop my head below his chin. As I do that, I do the swing, pull, and the same thing. So I'll try it in full speed, see if I can still make it work. Okay, so he's got my head, he's pretty tight, I over tie, I step, and I get 180 degrees, side to side. Build in, shove the ankle, and you can hit that move. So the key point to that, for one, if your coach isn't making you watch this, he's not gonna know what you're doing. Stop overtime, but I'm not sure how you feel. Do you feel pretty safe there?
With an overtime?
Yeah.
I feel in control.
So James feels in control, when in fact, he doesn't realize if I can drop my head, use this access point to pull, I have a lot of power with this hand and swing with that hand. So that's always fun. Okay, so we talked about the swing single on the back leg. Let's talk about the high crotch. Okay, so your opponent's leading your same side foot, which is what I like to do swing singles on. I have the same tie. I'm grabbing into the armpit, hold it on tight. And this one, I got to make James think he's coming for that swing single. So I told you before, I want to step here. I don't want to step all the way there. I want to kind of step here. And as he comes there, I'm bending down. I got this tricep here. I'm going to twist my body, throw my hand in here, pull his body over, and I'll be in that high crotch position. And once you get here, we don't stop. Boom, it's going to be really cool. Because you'll lose it. So once you get in, you're getting back up to your feet. And once you're on your feet, you're not stopping until they go down. So real simple. Opponent's leading that leg. We're gonna step like we're swing singling. We don't want to commit all the way out. We want to come right here. He pulls it back. I'm twisting my body, getting up, and finishing. Okay. So pretty much whatever leg he's leading, I want to step right about here. So we're stepping here, or if we're here, I'm stepping here to pull back. So we want to have that foot not as far. And the reason why is if James is leading this leg, and I step and he does not react, he doesn't react, guess what? Knee over toe, I'm in position. So if they don't react to that step, you want to be able to hit the shot if it's there. You don't want to shoot to the back leg if he doesn't react. So, understand?
Yep.
Okay. So, let's see what else we got. And one thing too, I've had some shoulder issues. So, a high crotch sometimes isn't as good. You can hit the same movement. Instead of a high crotch, you can hit a duck under. And when you do that in a room and you're older or younger, for some reason everyone loves the duck under. I think it's like a 3-punch shot. So we're here. He's leading this leg. I'm going to come here. Where do I come? Step and grab it. Whatever happens, I just throw him by. I let him fall into my arm right here. And all the kids love it. So we're here. Come here, pulse. Boom. Duck under behind. So as simple as that. A lot of fun. Next time we'll go over some troubleshooting. All right, so we want to troubleshoot the double leg. In doing this, I've made a lot of mistakes. I've had things happen to me that in reflection, you find the reason why. So as I mentioned, there's 3 steps to every takedown, and it's level change, penetration, and the follow through. So if you shoot a shot, it doesn't work, you can sit on your own and think, which one of those 3 things did I mess up? If you end up landing like this, you didn't change levels. You crashed the plane. And so with this penetration step, it's real easy. When you hit that back knee, it's really hard to shoot down. You kind of have to shoot up. So that takes care of that problem. If you don't have any power getting out of there, it's because of the angle of this foot. This knee has to be over the toe, and you want that 45. You want to be in that power position like the sprinter. If you have that right, you can actually bounce off that back knee to create a little bit of momentum and really get going into your opponent. If your opponent bends over and you can't get his shoulders over his hips, it's probably because your head slipped off to one side or the other. So not only does the head displace his body and knocks his shoulders over, but it also allows this much less time to travel to get there to have the most explosive move. So as I'm here, if I hit that back knee, everything's right, I shoot in there, my head's here, it's going to be a hard race because he's putting all that weight on me, slowing me down. I'm not saying it's impossible to win, but you definitely make it harder on yourself. Okay. One other thing that I've done, and this sucks really bad, everything's right, the knee's down, the knee over toe's perfect, my head's right here, I'm ready to go, and maybe this guy's kind of tight here, and I shoot my arms out. Boom! That's a recipe for getting thrown on your back. So that happened to me in the semifinals of the US Open. Pretty embarrassing, Tom Erickson. Anyways, not fun to do. So when you're shooting, you want your elbows tight, and you're actually throwing your hands here, throwing these hands. Like I said, through the wall. Another thing you try to get is when people understand this move, you get in here and they're running, they try to move their upper body and their legs to twist. Because if they can do that, your momentum gets off. Solution for that is hours and hours and hours of practice. So you can get in here, you hit it as they're moving, you learn to track, maybe even come up with a knee pick, whatever it may be, but you want to follow and keep him squared up as much as you can. And then as I mentioned, If they're on the edge of the mat, we want to run through them. And I call it down, chop down the tree, drop, catch the ankles, as you saw demonstrated earlier, drag your feet, and hopefully get a nice takedown around the edge. One other thing we talked about was when people have their hand down, this is a tough one to get the double leg. You really got to kind of bang on the head, make them decide, I don't want to get hit in the head enough, or you can catch here, try to shoot a high crotch through to that side, but I would not recommend hitting the double leg. If you want to make a statement, you can just unleash and headbutt him in the head, but it hurts both of you, so that's not a good option. I've done it before, but my coach used to block with his head sometimes. So as we're shooting, I changed levels, he would drop his head, and I would try to duck my head underneath, but in that situation, a lot of times you just come up, kind of snap, circle, move, boom, and you get in there again. So this move takes years to master, hours to get pretty good, but it's worth it. So whatever problems you have, I think we've addressed them all the problems I've had, and good luck to you. All right, this section we're going to do a double leg. We're going to do stance, motion, and fakes to open up your opponent. So as a wrestler, I mentioned earlier, I like to circle towards that back leg. For one, it allows me to square up my opponent, but then also I can, without him knowing, I can start getting that more vertical position where I can hit it. The one thing I like to do is I like to touch the mat. And as I touch the mat, we kind of lull him to sleep. You know, he might reach for it if you touch the mat. And if you can time it right, as he's reaching, he doesn't feel that vulnerable. But if I could hit my knee, because we've done it 2 or 3 times, I can get myself in a position to launch. I'm not going to fish through the ground. I'll try to get a little pop. So as wrestling here, I'm touching. You just fire up in, you create that space. So I think it's really important, like I said, to circle towards the back leg, touch the mat, touching the head, getting that space, getting frustrated, getting reaching, time that back knee hitting, and just explode up in. Sometimes, if your opponent's shorter than you, you might not be able to shoot up, but you definitely need to shoot definitely flat at the worst. And if you have to, if they're really low, when you go to shoot, I have hit my knee before, but as I hit the back foot, I come up and I try to get up to my feet. You never want to shoot in with this move and just stay on your knees. Because the whole point of this move is to create enough momentum to get those shoulders over his hips. By staying on your knees, you'll never be able to win that foot race. So essentially, if you do it right, there's a foot race. James is running backwards, I'm running forwards. No offense to any athlete in the world, but I think I can run faster forward than they can run backwards. So if you hit this move right, and you get to your feet and you move, your shoulders over the hips, you should have a lot of success. So now we're going to troubleshoot some of the finishes, positions you might get into the high crotch. Like I said before, if you can get to your feet, you have a greater success of finishing, but sometimes in wrestling you might slip, you get stuck in a position, and then you got to fight a little bit harder. So the first thing we want to do is we'll just get into position. So I'm into the good position here, and my opponent sits to his hip. I like this position because the way I think about it, I think about my body as I think they're called protractors. So in school you have a pencil here, and you have the metal point. Is that a compass?
That's a compass.
Compass. So we're a compass. What I want to do is I want to get my body as long as possible in this situation, and then I'm going to circle. So as I'm here, I like to get this ankle, control it, and I want to get my body my hips as far away as I can, and keeping my shoulder into the thigh. As I do this, I walk as far away as I can, holding on here. That makes it impossible for him to roll me. And with my right knee back here, I'm going to try to get over foot, leg, whatever it may be. So here, just keep walking, scoop this up here. Now I'm in position for the takedown. Let's do it the other side. Okay. Go ahead and sit down. So I take the shot. He sat down. I want to grab this ankle here and hold it tight. I'm going to get my legs, ankles, feet back as far as possible. Walk in a circle. Push this leg out here. Scoop. with the knee. And now I'm in a whole lot better position to finish. I like to get square here. Got a Navy ride. Put your position to finish the takedown. Okay, next position I get into sometimes. You get up here, you slip, whatever happens. They try to throw my head inside. It's a fight, I'm getting up here. They put it in. I'm gonna circle the other way and dump them. Very simply, when you're here and they get there, they're fighting that head, I wanna circle away, put my hands down here and throw my shoulder into his thigh. Once again, I'm in between the legs. I control my opponent, work up from there. I didn't get in that position quite a bit because I was able to get to my feet quite often. And I think because the outside step, it allows you to get back up a lot faster. When you shoot the inside step high crotch, a lot of times they have more time to get your head inside. So I faced it every once in a while, but that wasn't one of my main problems having with that move. The third one, I developed after I retired from wrestling. I go into the wrestling room at Cal State Bakersfield. I'd had a few shoulder surgeries. The flexibility of my arm wasn't as well as it had been. So my typical move, I'm coming up here and I'm switched off. My opponents would, with this hand, hold my tricep so I couldn't get my arm out. So what I decided to do is, I gotta get something, I gotta grab something. So as I get up to my feet, I can't reach out, I'm gonna hunt for this part right here. If I can catch this ankle, I guarantee I secure a takedown. So as I come here, I catch here, I grab this ankle, because this ankle controls my opponent's whole hip. I'm not doing this, I'm grabbing, keeping it away. My feet, I'm gonna put my feet in the ground, I'm gonna walk up here, and he can't do anything about it. No matter what he does, if I keep moving, I control his whole hip. When I'm ready to go, I can cross it this way, I can get into a takedown. But something that simple, not a lot of people do it, but it secures the takedown. Good for me, and it will for you. So let's do it one more time. And I'm just gonna keep running until I get that ankle with my feet. I'm in here, he's blocking. And the key to this is the feel, digging your heels in, because if I have no pressure, he can turn and grab this leg. A lot of times get in this position, but if before he grabs that, if I lift this up, there's no way he can grab this leg. Two-point takedown. And those are the answers I have to the problems I've had wrestling with the high crotch. Okay, so the last thing you want to do is troubleshoot the swing single. If you hit it hard enough and you do certain things right, you're not going to have any issues, or the issues you'll have will be very minimal. But let's go through some things that can happen if you don't do it right. So, as we mentioned, I like hanging here. And for the sake, we'll have the lead leg because it's really similar. As I said, I want to step next to the lead leg because he's going to pull it back. And as he pulls it back, when my knee hits, I should be really close to his foot where he pulls it back. That allows me to, when I swing, I catch the knee and I spin all the way around and I'm going down to here and this leg comes up. It doesn't look right when there's no pressure on it. But this trail leg has to come up, and instead of being at the knee, so as here I'm stepping, knee down, and I like to be here, and I like to have this trail. Let's go. I like to have this up. If you do it with enough force, he's going to be down there. But even if you don't, you jump it real quick, you split it, and you pull it up to your hip. So let's see it fast. A faster motion, and really focus on this trail leg coming up. The trail leg comes up, you're putting pressure down, which doesn't allow him to elevate to get that shin whizzer on you. So as we're here, stepping, pulling, coming up here. And if you have enough force, like I said, I like to just right away, post in my head, So if you do with such force and precision, a lot of those problems you encounter won't show up. So that's the troubleshooting for the swing single. So guys, my name is Stephen Neal. I wanted to share a little bit about my wrestling journey. It started in 1991. I was in 9th grade. Our JV football season just got done, and one of my homeroom classmates asked me what I was going to do for the next sporting semester. I told him probably basketball because my dad's a basketball player, and he asked me if I would consider the sport of wrestling. I had no knowledge of the sport, didn't have any goals or dreams in the sport of wrestling, but he said one thing that made me try to prove him wrong. He told me it was harder than football. So that very next day, I showed up at wrestling practice. Coach had us run 2 miles. Then we come in, put our wrestling shoes on, and then we had practice. Right away, I knew it was pretty tough, possibly tougher than football. Weeks into it, I realized it was way tougher than football. But being the stubborn person I am, I could not admit that it was tougher than the sport of football. The end of the season came. At the award banquet, I was given a little trophy this big. It said Stephen Neal, most improved. They'd spelled my name wrong, but I wasn't upset. I was actually quite proud. And from that moment on, I decided I was going to stick with the sport. And my senior year, the football dreams that I had didn't materialize. I didn't have any interest to get a scholarship for Division I sports and football, but the sport of wrestling opened some doors for me. I took 4th in the state as a senior. I worked really hard. I didn't have the best technical plan or skills, but I was able to take 4th in the state. Got a chance to go to Cal State Bakersfield, where I worked really hard. I had a great plan. I had good coaches, good workout partners. I redshirted the first year. The next year, I took 4th in the country. The following year, I took 2nd in the country. And for 2 years straight, I went undefeated, and I won 2 national championships. Rolled that into '99 into the World Championships. And so the day I started college, I was 4th in state. Graduate college, that next year, 5 years later, I'm a world champion. I believe what allowed me to achieve success is my belief system. I believe that everyone on this planet is created equal. I'm no better than you, you're no better than me. With that being said, if you can accomplish something, I can too. And if I can't accomplish what you've accomplished, it's because I'm not working hard enough or I don't have a very good plan. And with that belief system, I am the problem if I don't accomplish a goal, but I'm also the solution. And that allows me to have power in the situation. I can go anywhere I want to go because I believe I can, and I'm going to work hard and have a good plan. When you start making excuses, saying that person's more athletic, that person grew up at a country club, he has more money, so he's going to be better than me, you give the power away, and you don't have anything to do to get yourself there. So I encourage you, have that belief system, believe in it, set your goals high, work hard for it. When you don't achieve it, reflect, change your plan. And wrestling has been good to me, but because of that belief system in 2001, if people can make the NFL, why can't I? And so I got an opportunity. I showed up there, got to hang out with the Patriots for 10 years, in which our team won 3 Super Bowls. We went to 4. So I encourage you, work on this. Don't ever give the power away by making excuses. Thank you, guys.